Hey everyone, welcome back to another video of mine. Today I will be taking a walk along one of Melbourne's most beloved seaside spots, St Kilda Beach, in the heart of Melbourne. So whether you're a local Melburnian or a traveler making your first Aussie adventure or be coming back, or whether you're someone who just loves the sound of the waves and the spirit of the coast, welcome to St Kilda. So St Kilda is more than just a beach, it's a historical gem and a place where the sea meets the soul. So imagine this, the sun is starting to set, casting a warm golden light over the water. The iconic St Kilda Pier reaches out ahead, dotting with couples, kids and families, and the occasional pelican. There's music in the distance, but maybe a busker playing some acoustic guitar or the hum of chatter from the Esplanade bars which are nearby. The air smells of salt, sunscreen and fish and chips. That's St Kilda. It is a laid back, little quirky and totally alive. Unlike some of Australia's other coastal spots, St Kilda feels like it belongs equally in the ocean, with the ocean and the city. You can go from the calm waters of St Kilda on one side and the buzzing mix of cafes, rollerbladers, artists, backpackers and lifelong locals on the other. St Kilda's story begins in the early 1800s. It was named after a ship called Lady of St Kilda that anchored off the shore in the year 1841. Before that, of course, the land belonged to the Boon Wurrung people of the Kulin Nation. The beach and the surrounding lands were a vital part of their culture, sustenance and community for thousands of years. By the late 19th and early 20th century, St Kilda became Melbourne's seaside playground. The horse-driven carriages bringing day trippers down to the water. They were elegant bathing houses and yes, some very strict dress codes were needed. By the 1920s, St Kilda saw the rise as an entertainment and leisure hub. And iconic places like Luna Park opened their doors, and the Esplanade, which is in St Kilda, became a go-to area for music, dancing and dining. So Sydney does have a Luna Park as well. However, the Sydney Luna Park is actually quite larger than the Melbourne one. I will do a video on Luna Park at some point. It's not sure exactly when I will do it. So like many urban places, St Kilda has gone from through highs and lows. So there were decades when it fell out of favor. However, in the last few years, St Kilda has had a real resurgence thanks to revitalization projects, a growing cafe culture, and the undeniable pull of its unique character. So what can you do in St Kilda? Pretty much a lot of things. Let's start with the obvious, the beach. It is not exactly a place where you come and surf, as the waters are quite calm. However, it's a perfect place for a dip, paddle boarding, or just sunbathing on the sand. Families and backpackers love it. Even on the busiest of summer days, there is always a spot to lay a towel. There is also St Kilda Pier, which is an absolute must visit, and I will show that later. And you can also see St Kilda's famous penguins, which come out at night. So these penguins live right at the end of the pier and come ashore around sunset. It is one of the few places in the world where you can see wild penguins up close in an urban setting. So Luna Park, as I mentioned earlier, is another icon. It opened in the year 1912 and has an old-timey carnival vibe. The giant clown face at the entrance is unmissable. Inside, you got plenty of rides, games, and a wooden roller coaster that's been giving people a thrill ride for over a century. There is also St Kilda Botanical Gardens, which is nearby as well, and also plenty of wonderful cafes, restaurants, and bars. So if you're not a particular beach fan, I would highly recommend coming to St Kilda just for the food and culture as well. There are plenty of festivals in the St Kilda. Um, there was a St Kilda Blues Festival which I went for earlier this year. There are also several film festivals as well. So sorry about the way I pronounce it. So there are also several nice restaurants along the beach, as you can see on my on the left, which I just passed. You can also have some nice lunch, breakfast, or dinner, depending on what time of day you come. The day that I actually shot this video, it was relatively quiet. It was cold and very windy as well. So let's give a bit of history. So around the area, there's Ackland Street, which has wonderful cafes and restaurants, and also plenty of places for brunch, etc. And there are plenty of good hotels, especially the hotel called the Esplanade Hotel, or the SP as we call it in Melbourne. And it has several live music shows every week. So St Kilda has a unique personality about it. You can come here pretty much any time of the year, and it depends on how the weather is, but it can get busy as well. So there is also, as I mentioned earlier, some festivals as well, the St Kilda Blues Festival. There's also the St Kilda Festival held every summer, and it's one of the largest free music festivals in the city. See, the entire foreshore turns into a China stage with performances, markets, food stalls, and an undeniable beach backdrop. There's also the St Kilda Film Festival with short films from around the world and plenty of pop-up art exhibitions and night markets throughout the year. So there is always something to do, especially on a weekend, and you can come here and visit. I did go here on a Friday afternoon, so it wasn't that busy. So St Kilda is also home, as I mentioned earlier, to the penguins. The penguins are protected, and volunteers help manage the area to make sure that they are not disturbed. If you decide to go and see them, please be respectful, and no flash photography, no touching, and please give them space. There are also regular cleanup events as well. That restaurant there, this on the left, is called Donovan's, and one of the most popular places in Melbourne to come and visit. So I haven't actually been to St Kilda Beach for a while, but I have been to St Kilda, and I will highly recommend coming here if you're visiting from overseas or interstate. I highly recommend making St Kilda like a stop. You can either visit the beach or visit one of the restaurants, or go to Luna Park if you so desire. So I have been to Luna Park like a long time ago when I was a child, but I haven't been there for many years. And surprisingly, I have not seen the penguins at St Kilda, despite the fact that I've been living in Melbourne for nearly 20 years. So surprisingly, I should actually go and see them one day and just see how they are. I won't be taking flash photography. I will go and visit one day. But if you come here during summer, you can spend a day at the beach, depending on how long you're in Melbourne for. You can relax at the beach or spend a couple of hours here and then go and have a lunch or dinner at one of the many restaurants in St Kilda. St Kilda, for some reason, gives me like something like Santa Monica. Don't know why. In LA, this reminds me of there. Actually, Santa Monica reminds me of Melbourne or St Kilda Beach, actually. For some reason. Nothing like sort of for me it is sort of similar, but I know that Santa Monica is a lot more busier and a lot more people actually do visit there than St Kilda. But I would recommend coming here to visit. So this actually place is a nice place to actually go for a walk. I did not relax on the beach because the weather wasn't. It was a bit cold, and I didn't actually relax on the beach. But I did sit down for a little while, not on the beach, but a few benches nearby, which I did sit down for a while and just enjoyed the atmosphere, etc. And it's actually, if you're interested, like for me, I just like to meditate and just sit near the beach and just enjoy. It's actually quite nice, relaxing, especially if it's quiet as well, like it was today. Otherwise, then that is up to you. You can just relax. So you can just relax at the beach, go for a walk. And if you have a family as well, you can bring your children, or grandchildren, etc. And they will have a nice time as well. As you can see, plenty of people exercise. They bring their dogs. There is also a separate dog beach, and you can bring your dogs there, and they can have fun at the beach as well. So depends on what they like. So there are also plenty of locals that actually come here as well, especially in the evenings, Friday evenings, Saturday evenings, mainly in the warmer weather. They come here to the beach and just relax. If they're coming to Melbourne, I would spend maybe a few hours here because as I'm a local, I do some, like mainly during summer. I don't come here during winter. Sorry about that. I don't come here during winter. It's mainly during summer I come, or during the spring, which I was shooting this video. Sorry about my voice. I was editing a few other shooting a few other videos as well, just doing some earlier. So if you made it this far, so please consider subscribing, and also please leave a like and a comment as well after the premiere. I would greatly appreciate it. As you can see, there's a separate part for riding your bikes and a separate part for walking, which is a good idea actually. And if you're interested, you can actually there are people who have boats as well. They like to take it on the bay. So if you're interested in seeing the penguins, they come on shore at sunset. So it depends on what time of year it is. In the summer, it's usually around between 8:30 and 9 p.m. And during the winters, about 5:30. That's when sunset is. It depends on what time of year you come. And actually, you need to come and see the penguins of St Kilda. I have been to another place called Phillip Island. Not Port Phillip, sorry. That is a couple of hours away from Melbourne. Actually, I've seen the penguins down there many years ago. I think about 30 years ago when I last saw them. I still haven't seen the penguins at St Kilda Beach. St Kilda Pier to be exact. So this is coming up to one of the parks along the beach. There's several green areas where you can actually relax as well if you don't particularly like the sand. You can just come here and relax. Sorry about that. So I hope you have enjoyed the video. So please consider subscribing as well, and also leaving a like and comment. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Please, and as I said, consider subscribing, etc. And I will see you in my next video. I'll just leave you with the area of look around the area. So thanks everyone. I'll see you in my next video.